A friend of ours calls a little Devar Torah, or Devar Haftarah, a Devarling. So I have a little Devarling. This was my take on the Jonah story as I read it this time around, before hearing Tony. So in the story of Jonah, the people of Nineveh have turned to wickedness, and God picks someone to help warn the people. If you don't cut it out, he's supposed to say. So God picks Jonah, but Jonah is a reluctant prophet, and most prophets are reluctant, by the way. And Jonah will have none of it and flees, just like Adam and Eve, who try to hide from God, just not possible. And so he is found, put in a timeout, and I don't know why I never thought of putting my kids in a timeout in the belly of a fish. But at last, after some time to think about it, he decides he is released from his timeout, and he does what he has been asked to do. And when he does, he says 5 words. And voila, the people repent, and God is no longer upset with them. The harsh decree is avoided, and all is good. Now you would think that Jonah would feel good, even great about this. He did it. It worked. But in the end, as we saw, Jonah is not happy at all about these things. He is in fact so unhappy that he calls out to God in his unhappiness. And God is like, really? Are you that unhappy? And Jonah's like, yeah, I knew you were bluffing. You are such a softie. This is so dumb. I didn't even need to do all this. Just kill me now. So Jonah sits down, and God causes a tree to grow to give him shade, but then sends a worm who eats all the leaves, so there now is no shade. And then God makes the sun really, really hot, and Jonah is miserable. In other words, God gave Jonah something actually worthy of complaining about. If one has ever sat in the desert in that part of the world, we know how important shade is. The story ends with God shining a mirror up to Jonah, showing essentially that Jonah is too worried about himself, his own ego, while God is worried about everyone. While reading this story, at different points along the way, one might ask, what is the takeaway message? Near the beginning, we might say the takeaway is, be like Jonah, rise above your discomfort and do what needs to be done and help others change their ways. Or a little later in the story, one might say, the takeaway is, be like the people of Nineveh, because no matter how bad things get, how far we have strayed, we can always change our ways. But by the end of the story, the takeaway really becomes, be like God. Treasure all you have made, created, generated, invested in. And if something breaks and you cannot fix it, find someone to help you. And if someone is reluctant, empower and teach them, and keep teaching them, and keep teaching them. Keep at it. Persist. Maybe we read this story on the afternoon of Yom Kippur for us to be reminded not to give up on ourselves as this intense, hard day slowly moves on. Don't give up. We have 50 more minutes to go. You've got this. Keep at it. Believe in yourself. You can keep growing. And so, my friends, we are getting there. Just a little more to go. We will hang in there. And there is still more to learn and understand. We can still go deeper. It's never just a simple 5 words. We cannot give up. Let's believe in ourselves as much as God believes in us. And may this be a message for us to carry into our coming year. Whenever the tough gets going, we can say, nevertheless, we persisted.